Well, Mr. John Black, super chemist. Because it's part three, I don't know. Talking about how the Federal Reserve is evil. Uh, where was I at? Yeah, they have a machine, right? And so they start printing up a bunch of money because the more money they print up, the more we get in debt. you know. So a lot of loans were given out because they made a whole bunch of money. Uh, then in the 1920, the Fed deliberately contracted uh, this money supply, in an extreme way. They took back their money. They called in they told all their banks, you got to pay us up, you owe us money. Uh, that in return resulted in the banks, the lower banks, calling in all their loans. You know what I mean? And trying to repossess stuff. A lot of bankruptcies now, and then you collapse, and the banks start collapsing. You know what I mean? People are coming in all trying to get their money out because they know that they contracted the money supply, right? And as the banks collapsed, right, the central bank is the only one making the money as they destroy the society, right? That's how they make money. That's how the Rockefellers make money. I don't know how they live with themselves, having so much they can make the world literally heaven on earth. Instead, they choose to just, once you have so much money, some people they just can't be happy getting more money because that doesn't change anything. The only thing that you can do is push the other people down so that you're further away from them. You know what I mean? And that's because money is power is nothing to them now at this point. The only way that they can be better than everybody else, they can't push it. They can't be any higher than they already are. So the only way they can get the vision is by putting us down into the dirt, having us starve. That's what they teach in their family. And if it wasn't what they taught, it wouldn't be happening over and over, generation after generation, if they just keep doing it over and over again. These people are evil. They're bred evil. You know what I mean? Anyone related to them, they're probably evil. So anyways, so they swoop in, right? And they buy up all the banks that went belly up, right? Pennies on the dollar. Now they're richer and more in control over the banking system, right? And what if I could control the volume of money and wanted to buy your house? Yeah. What about that? Let's say I'm Mr. Rockefeller, right? I come over to your $300,000 house, right? I say, how much? I'll give you $1 for this house. I'll give you $1. You say, fuck you, I ain't giving you that. It's a $300,000 house. I say, oh, okay, well, whatever. Screw you, buddy. I go back home, right? I call up all the banks. I got control of the Federal Reserve Bank, right? Call all the banks up. I'm like, hey, I want all my loans. I want to start paying back stuff right now. I'm going to start repossessing, your crap, motherfucker. Give me some of my money. So that's how they contract the money supply. They take the money out of the supply and put it into their bank, right? They want it. And so what happens to all these little banks? They go out and they call in all their loans. And they do basically what the Fed is doing to them. You know what I mean? And then, so now I've contracted the money supply. I've taken everything the little banks have, and the little banks have taken everything that the people below them have, they take back, they repossess their crap, they call in the loans they have, and now there's no money in the system. I have taken the money supply and made it really small. Now your house is only worth $1. Okay. Now I go over to your house the next day. Okay, and I'm oversimplifying. I go over to your house the next day, and I'm like, hey man, your house is only worth $1, man. I'll give you $10 for your house because I'm a nice guy like that. I just want to help you out. I know you're starving now since your $300,000 house is only worth $1 now. So I'm going to be nice and give you 10 times what it's worth. I'm going to give you $10 for it. And then, so you're like starving. So of course you take the money and you're happy to have it. And then he goes home and he laughs. He laughs his ass off at you. And then he says, and then he calls up all the bank. And he calls up the Fed because that's where he works, the Federal Reserve Bank. That's where he controls. And he tells him, he says, call all the banks underneath you. You know, tell them that you're going to start giving them a whole bunch of money. You're going to start flooding in the money, right? So that and then those banks are going to start giving out loans, start giving out money, and you're going to flood the money supply with money, right? Now you hang up. Now there's a whole bunch of money in the. Now that house that I just bought for $10 went back up to $300,000. And then I go over to that guy's house and I laugh at him. You know, he's actually probably living on the street now. And I laugh to go to the alley where in the box where he lives. I got your house for $10, and you were thanking me because it was only worth $1, and now it's back up to $300,000. You dumbass. That's who the Rockefellers are. That's who the Bushes are. Obama. That's what these people are. That's what they do. Like, can you do that and like live with yourself? You do that to a whole entire country and the whole world now. How do you live with yourself when you have all the money in the world? All of it. But that ain't enough for them. It just ain't enough. You know? So anyway, twice now, once to get the Federal Reserve, right? They screwed the economy over and made us go into a depression, kind of. Then they got the Federal Reserve. The first thing they did with the Federal Reserve is cause another depression, right? Then let's see what happens now here. Now from 2021 to 1929, you know what's going to happen, right? This next time, this third time, it's going to be a Great Depression. Not just a regular depression, not a recession, okay? A Great Depression, okay? So from 21 to 1929, again, they increased the money supply, so banks gave out a lot of loans, and there was a new type of loan called a broker call loan in the stock market, okay? And it had a catch, though. This was just about banks before and loans. Now they're into the stock market. It could be called in at any time, and you had 48 hours to pay up when it came to this type of loan, called whatever I just called it, a broker call loan. So you had to pay it back like almost instantaneously. And it could be called back at any time, and you had 48 hours to pay back. The elites left the stock market just like today. And think about it today, right now. In the last month, all the elites are pulling out billions. I'm not talking about millions or hundreds of millions. I'm talking billions. They're pulling billions of dollars out of the stock market right now. All of them. Literally. All of them. Now, I'm talking about good stocks like maybe Walmart. You know what I mean? You know Walmart, you'd think, ain't going to go under. But anyways, it's happening today. Where was I at now? Okay, knowing the bubble they created was about to burst, then in 1929, they started calling in all their stuff, man. And you know what happened? They caused another crash. Only this time, instead of them flooding the market with money, a little bit after that, buying everything up and then flooding the market, they waited. They didn't flood the market so we could bounce back. You know what I mean? They waited until the entire country was starving. Then they decided, I guess it's time. Yeah, I guess they're starving enough. I guess they're dying enough. We've made enough money. Then they flooded it in, and that's why it caused a Great Depression. Whether they meant to do that or it was an experiment to see what would happen if they really, screwed up society. You know what I mean? I don't know. But anyways, where am I at here? Okay, so instead of expanding the money supply, the Fed actually contracted it even further, causing the Great Depression. And Congress tried to impeach the Federal Reserve Board at that time. You know, just like in any part of our history, half the time you got half the government and half of the population saying, "What the heck? This is just crazy. This got to stop." And then you got the other half of the Congress and government and the other half of the country saying, "What are you talking about? That's not crazy. That's horrible." Even though it's batshit crazy. You know what I mean? Even though every time it's batshit crazy. You got one kind half of them. It's insane how stupid humans are. So anyways, after this now, like this wasn't bad enough putting us through a Great Depression, right? They removed the gold stamp and forced everyone in the country to give all their gold to the government to help the starving people not starve after wrecking the economy and making us, crashing it so we're all starving. To help us not be starving, they forced us to give our gold to them, to the government. That was how they helped us. And that's how. And can you believe this? Is this even? I don't even know. You see humans like you don't even give a shit. You're like, oh well, that's the way it is. Yeah, it is if you fucking just sit there and say, yeah, that's all it is. So that was an executive order in 1933. You got 10 years in prison if they caught you not giving your gold up to the government. You got 10 years in prison. Before this, it said on every dollar bill, dollar redeemable in gold. It was backed by something. It was backed by gold. So anyways, today it says, after today, it just says legal tender. It doesn't say redeemable. Yeah, legal tender means it's worthless. Whoever controls the volume of money is absolute master of all industry and commerce. That's James Garfield. That's what I mean by if you double the volume of money, right, now the prices are really, really high. But if you contract the money, prices go low. You can come in and buy everything up at rock bottom prices and then just flood the market with more money so that, things go back up. And then everything you bought just goes back up too, right? That's what they do over and over and over again. That's why I say humans are so stupid. And the guy who said, hey, we learned history so we don't repeat it. That guy needs hunted down and he should be sterilized. Everyone related to that guy should be sterilized. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Because all I see in history is we do repeat over and over and over and over. You can see right here. It's like every decade they're doing the same damn thing. They're crashing the market. Enron, 2008, and everyone acts like they don't know what to. We'll never do this again. Then the next decade, you're like, oh, we'll never do this again. Next decade, we'll never do this again. It's like the retardation is like, it kills me. So yeah. So central bank is a private corporation that makes its own policies. It loans money to the U.S. at interest so that you're forced to be in debt if you have this kind of money. This is the very same banking system we fought England for having. This is why we had the Revolutionary War. This is why, if it wasn't for them trying to force fiat money on us, we wouldn't have gone on a war. We would still be England. There would be no such thing as the USA. Don't you get that? That's literally what our system is based on. We will not be in a fiat system because it's a slave system. It's a slave system where the slaves house and feed themselves.